Jane Seacrest was a school teacher for most of her life, while her husband spent his own life on the back of a horse, at least from the age of 6 until he was 80 when he had a bad accident.
12 plates, 23 screws, 2 rods in my back, and 2 shoulder replacements. And my wife says if I get on another horse, I'm in big trouble.
Today, Dave is 86 years old. He's done everything. He was a cowboy, he was a rancher, he was a foreman. He was for many, many years the president of the Cattlemen Association. And this is at that time that he had the idea to found a club of the 100,000 miles rider and more in their life, the people who rode on the back of a horse for that very many, many miles. And he came up with the idea after he stopped riding to make this book. He published this book of more than 30 cowboys and cowgirls who tell their stories about how they ended up riding more than 100,000 miles in their lives. It's a fun book to read. I think you can find on the internet, Long Winding Trails. But that's not why I met Dave. I met Dave to talk about Will James. So here's what he thinks about Will James.
And we were all sitting around the fireplace in the evening, and my folks gave me Smokey the cow horse. And I had a hard time not showing a tear when Will James led me through some of the sadder parts of Smokey's life. And from that time on, I was just hooked. What Will James means to me is almost spiritual in a way. His art is so real that it's almost a fantasy that the ones of us that spent a lifetime doing what he's done have tried to live up to, and most of us fall a little bit short. What he means to me is he's made me try harder at what I've done for a lifetime, at being the best I could be at doing those things.
One of the members of the Cowboy 100,000 Mile Club is Tom Marvel. And Tom tells a story about being in a cow camp, and Will James and his friend came riding in at lunchtime, and they had lunch, and Tom said he was so in awe in his presence that it was about 2:30 in the afternoon before he realized he forgot to eat lunch.
That's a pretty big deal for a 16-year-old kid.
Yes.
Tom's still alive. He lives here in
Elko.
After dinner in a ranch, why you always pack your plates to the kitchen or that type of thing. And she tells a story with her washing dishes and Will James wiping them and drying them. And she was so entranced with him being there that she didn't realize he was drying those dishes and putting them back around, and she was rewashing them. He was influential, yeah. I never reached the abilities that he had, but it made me try harder at everything that I'd done. He instilled that in me to do the best I was capable of doing.